Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're hearing the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any section using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Cognitivism in Discourse Analysis, Applications and Case Studies. The integration of cognitivism into discourse analysis enriches our understanding of how cognitive processes influence and are influenced by communication in various contexts, from political rhetoric to media content and educational interactions. This approach explores how cognitive frameworks like attention, memory, and biases shape the production and reception of discourse, offering insights into the effectiveness of political messaging, the impact of media narratives, and the dynamics of classroom communication. By examining the interplay between cognitive mechanisms and discourse, researchers can uncover the underlying strategies that enhance comprehension, persuasion, and learning, providing valuable guidance for optimizing communicative practices across fields. 1. Cognitive discourse analysis in political communication. Incorporating cognitivism into the analysis of political communication allows for a nuanced understanding of how cognitive mechanisms influence both the production and reception of political discourse. This approach reveals not just what is communicated but how it resonates or aligns with the cognitive structures of the audience, shaping their perceptions, beliefs, and actions. Here, we delve into applications and case studies that exemplify the use of cognitive discourse analysis in the realm of political communication. 1. Application. Cognitive strategies in political messaging. Cognitive framing. Politicians and their advisors often carefully craft their messages using cognitive framing, a strategy that involves presenting issues in a way that resonates with the audience's existing cognitive schemas. For example, the framing of climate change as an economic opportunity versus an environmental crisis can significantly affect public support for policy measures. Cognitive discourse analysis can unpack these framing strategies, identifying how they are designed to align with or challenge the audience's cognitive structures. Metaphorical thinking. The use of metaphors in political discourse is another cognitive strategy that shapes how issues are perceived. Metaphors can transform abstract, complex issues into more concrete and relatable terms. Analyzing the metaphors used in political speeches reveals how leaders conceptualize issues and guide public understanding. For instance, war metaphors have been prevalently used in contexts like public health, e.g., fight against COVID-19 inches, influencing how public responses and policies are framed. 2. Case study. Cognitive biases in election campaigns. One illustrative case study involves examining the role of cognitive biases, such as the confirmation bias and the availability heuristic, in shaping voter attitudes and behaviors during election campaigns. Cognitive discourse analysis can investigate how campaign messages exploit these biases to strengthen party loyalty or sway undecided voters. Confirmation bias. Political campaigns often tailor messages that affirm the pre-existing beliefs of their target audience, reinforcing their support. Analysis might focus on how specific narratives or facts are highlighted while others are omitted or discredited, thereby catering to and reinforcing the confirmation bias among supporters. Availability heuristic. The frequent repetition of certain messages or slogans makes them more mentally available to the audience, potentially overestimating their importance or truth. A case study could analyze the effects of repeated exposure to certain claims or slogans in campaign advertisements on voter perceptions of issue saliency or candidate qualities. 3. Implications for political discourse and cognitive processing. These applications and case studies underscore the profound impact of cognitive mechanisms on the production and reception of political discourse. By employing cognitivism in discourse analysis, researchers can uncover the underlying cognitive strategies and biases that influence political communication and its effects on the public. This approach not only enhances our understanding of political messaging and its reception but also offers insights into how political beliefs and attitudes are formed and maintained. Such analyses contribute to the broader field of political communication by providing tools to critically evaluate the cognitive dimensions of political discourse, offering potential strategies for more informed and critical engagement with political messages.
2. Media discourse through a cognitive lens. Applying a cognitive lens to the analysis of media narratives and public discourse allows for a deeper understanding of how these narratives shape and are shaped by the cognitive processes of audiences.
This approach emphasizes the role of cognitive frameworks, such as schemas, mental models, and heuristics, in influencing how information is processed, interpreted, and remembered. By examining media discourse through cognitive frameworks, researchers can uncover the underlying mechanisms that drive public perception and discourse dynamics.
Here we explore applications and case studies that highlight the integration of cognitivism into the analysis of media discourse.
1. Application: cognitive schemas and media narratives. Schemas in news interpretation. Media narratives often activate specific schemas in the audience's minds, which then guide the interpretation of news stories.
For example, a study might analyze how the hero-villain schema influences the reception of political news, with audiences more likely to align individuals or groups within these roles based on the narrative framing used by the media. By employing cognitive discourse analysis, researchers can identify the schemas most frequently activated by different types of media narratives and their effects on audience understanding and attitude formation. Mental models in documentary reception. Documentaries and in-depth news features aim to construct comprehensive mental models of complex issues among their viewers. Cognitive discourse analysis can explore how the structure and content of documentaries contribute to or challenge existing mental models within audiences, potentially leading to shifts in perception or awareness regarding social issues, scientific concepts, or historical events. 2.
Case study: heuristics in social media discourse. A case study in this realm could focus on how social media platforms, through their unique discourse structures and algorithms, exploit cognitive heuristics such as the availability heuristic and the affect heuristic. Availability heuristic in viral content. This case study could examine how the repetition and popularity of certain narratives or hashtags make them more mentally available to users, potentially skewing their perception of an issue's importance or prevalence. Analysis might involve quantifying the spread of specific narratives and assessing their impact on public discourse and opinion. Affect heuristic in user engagement. Another study could analyze how emotional content on social media influences engagement and sharing behaviors, leveraging the affect heuristic, where people make judgments based on their emotional responses. By applying cognitive discourse analysis, researchers can uncover the relationship between emotional valence of media content and user interactions, providing insights into how emotions drive the dissemination of information online.
3. Implications for understanding media influence. Applying cognitivism in the analysis of media discourse reveals the intricate ways in which cognitive processes interact with media narratives to shape public discourse. It highlights how media can both reflect and construct the cognitive frameworks within which public understanding and dialogue occur. This approach provides valuable insights into the mechanisms of media influence, offering a nuanced understanding of how narratives are constructed, interpreted, and remembered. Furthermore, it underscores the importance of critical media literacy in navigating the complex landscape of modern media, suggesting that an awareness of cognitive processes can empower individuals to more critically engage with media content. Through these applications and case studies, the integration of cognitivism into discourse analysis enriches our comprehension of the media's role in shaping public perception and discourse. 3. Education and learning discourses.
The application of cognitive discourse analysis, CODA, within the context of education and learning offers profound insights into the cognitive mechanisms at play in educational interactions and materials. This approach allows for an exploration of how linguistic and discursive practices within educational settings influence and reflect cognitive processes involved in learning. By analyzing classroom discourse, textbooks, and other educational materials through a cognitive lens, researchers can uncover how these resources are constructed to align with or challenge learners' cognitive structures and processes, ultimately affecting learning outcomes.
Here we delve into specific applications and case studies that highlight the use of CODA in understanding educational discourses.
1. Application: cognitive alignment in educational materials. Textbook analysis. One application of CODA in education involves the analysis of textbooks and instructional materials to assess how well they align with learners' cognitive development stages and learning schemas. For example, researchers might analyze the complexity of language, the use of analogies, and the presentation of concepts to determine whether these materials are developmentally appropriate and supportive of cognitive processing and schema construction. Multimodal learning resources. With the increasing use of multimedia in education, cognitive discourse analysis can also be applied to examine how different modes of information – text, images, audio, video – interact to support or hinder cognitive processing and learning. Analysis might focus on the cognitive load induced by various instructional designs and the effectiveness of multimodal integration in facilitating understanding and retention.
2.
Case study: classroom discourse and cognitive engagement. Teacher questioning techniques. A case study might focus on the cognitive aspects of classroom discourse, particularly examining how teachers' questioning techniques stimulate cognitive engagement and critical thinking among students. Through the analysis of classroom interactions, researchers can identify patterns in questioning strategies, such as open-ended versus closed questions, and their effects on students' cognitive responses, such as elaboration, inference-making, and reasoning. Peer interaction and collaborative learning. Another case study could explore the role of peer discourse in collaborative learning settings, analyzing how students articulate their thought processes, negotiate meaning, and construct knowledge together. This involves examining the cognitive mechanisms underpinning successful collaboration, such as shared attention, theory of mind, understanding others' mental states, and the co-construction of schemas.
3.
Implications for enhancing educational practices. The integration of cognitive discourse analysis into the study of education and learning discourses provides valuable insights that can inform teaching strategies, curriculum design, and the development of educational materials. By understanding the cognitive underpinnings of educational interactions and how learners process and engage with educational content, educators and curriculum developers can create more effective learning environments that cater to the cognitive needs of their students.
Furthermore, this approach highlights the importance of considering cognitive factors in the assessment of educational outcomes, suggesting that a deeper understanding of cognitive processes can lead to more nuanced evaluations of learning and teaching effectiveness. Through applications and case studies, cognitive discourse analysis in education elucidates the complex interplay between language, cognition, and learning, offering a pathway to more cognitively attuned and effective educational practices. Conclusion.
The application of cognitive discourse analysis across fields such as political communication, media, and education unveils the profound influence of cognitive processes on discourse production and interpretation. In political communication, it highlights how cognitive strategies and biases shape and are shaped by political messages, affecting voter perceptions and behaviors. Media discourse analysis through a cognitive lens reveals how news narratives and social media content leverage cognitive schemas and heuristics, influencing public opinion and emotional responses. Within the realm of education, cognitive discourse analysis offers insights into how educational materials and classroom interactions align with learners' cognitive structures, impacting learning outcomes and engagement. These diverse applications underscore the utility of cognitive discourse analysis in understanding the intricate relationship between cognition and discourse. By examining how cognitive mechanisms influence the construction, reception, and impact of discourse, researchers can offer nuanced insights into the dynamics of communication across various contexts.
Furthermore, this approach provides a framework for developing strategies that enhance understanding, critical engagement, and effective communication, catering to the cognitive needs and processes of audiences and learners. Ultimately, cognitive discourse analysis enriches our comprehension of the cognitive underpinnings of discourse, offering a deeper understanding of how language functions to shape thought, belief, and behavior in society. Frequently asked questions. How does cognitive discourse analysis benefit the understanding of political communication? Cognitive discourse analysis, CODA, reveals how cognitive mechanisms like framing and metaphorical thinking shape and are shaped by political messaging, influencing audience perceptions, beliefs, and actions. It provides insights into the strategic use of language to resonate with or manipulate public opinion and behavior. What are cognitive strategies commonly used in political messaging? Cognitive strategies include cognitive framing, where issues are presented in ways that resonate with the audience's existing cognitive schemas, and metaphorical thinking, where complex issues are made relatable through concrete metaphors. These strategies are designed to align with or challenge audience cognition to influence perceptions and actions. Can you provide an example of a cognitive bias affecting political campaigns? Confirmation bias and availability heuristic are two cognitive biases that significantly affect political campaigns. Confirmation bias leads voters to favor information that aligns with their pre-existing beliefs, while the availability heuristic makes certain messages more mentally available due to repeated exposure, influencing perceptions of issue saliency or candidate qualities. What role do cognitive schemas play in media narratives? Cognitive schemas guide the interpretation of media narratives, influencing how news stories or media content are processed and understood by the audience. For example, the hero-villain schema can affect how individuals categorize entities within political news, shaping perceptions and attitudes based on narrative framing. How does social media exploit cognitive heuristics? Social media platforms exploit cognitive heuristics like the availability and effect heuristics by making certain narratives more mentally accessible through repetition and emphasizing emotional content to drive engagement and information dissemination. This can skew public perception and amplify specific viewpoints or misinformation. How can cognitive discourse analysis enhance educational practices? CODA can improve educational practices by analyzing how educational materials and classroom discourse align with learners' cognitive structures and processes. By identifying effective instructional designs and questioning techniques that stimulate cognitive engagement and support learning, educators can enhance curriculum design and teaching strategies to better meet learners' cognitive needs. What are some cognitive factors analyzed in educational discourse? In educational discourse, CODA focuses on factors such as the alignment of textbooks with learners' cognitive development, the cognitive load induced by instructional materials, and the cognitive engagement triggered by classroom interactions. Analyzing these factors helps in understanding how educational content and practices influence learning outcomes. How does cognitive discourse analysis differ from traditional discourse analysis? Unlike traditional discourse analysis, which primarily focuses on the content and structure of discourse, cognitive discourse analysis integrates insights from cognitive psychology to understand how underlying cognitive processes influence the production, reception, and interpretation of discourse. It examines the mental mechanisms that drive discourse dynamics and audience responses. Why is cognitivism important in discourse analysis across different fields? Cognitivism is crucial because it provides a framework for understanding the mental processes underlying discourse interactions across various contexts, including political communication, media, and education. By examining how cognitive structures and processes such as schemas, biases, and heuristics influence discourse, researchers can gain deeper insights into how information is communicated, processed, and acted upon in different domains.